We're going to demonstrate the assembly of an L150 sliding shoe pump, but all Megator pumps are assembled in virtually the same way. These are the components: pump body, the front cover and port plate, 2 blank flanges, 2 bearing housings and covers, the rotor assembly, 2 seal seats with a brass ring and rubber outer, 2 seal assemblies with a spring seat, bellows, and carbon ring, 2 bearings with locking collars, the sliding shoes, 7 gaskets, and various small components like nuts, screws, washers, and plugs. This is a standard drive pump. That means that the drive end of the shaft is on the left-hand side as you look at the front of the pump. As we assemble the pump, we check that all the machine faces on the casting are free from damage and clean. This is part of our ongoing quality control. The gaskets should be given a coating of grease before fitting. The 2 largest are for the front cover and locate over the dowels. Although the pump has a unique feature which enables it to self-compensate for wear, simply removing one of the front cover gaskets is a manual mechanism for compensating for excessive wear. A gasket should also be fitted at each side of the pump and on the port plate. The final 2 gaskets are for the blank flanges at the back of the pump. Fit the blank flanges and secure each one with 2 nuts. Then prepare the seal seats. The brass ring is fitted with the chamfered side towards the back of the rubber seal ring. This will be an exact fit to create a leak-proof seal. Using lubricant, place a seal seat in the recess of each bearing housing and press it fully home. The bearing housings can only be fitted one way, with the drain hole at the bottom. Fit the non-drive end bearing housing and tap it into place. Secure the housing with 4 nuts. Rub some lubricant onto each end of the rotor shaft. Put a spring over the shaft with the seat towards the inside. Then fit the rubber bellows. Put the other spring and bellows on the opposite end of the rotor shaft. Then fit the carbon rings. Each ring has 2 cutouts, which locate on the lugs over the bellows. The narrowest part of the carbon ring faces outwards. Then wipe off any surface lubricant. Put the rotor assembly inside the pump body and locate it carefully into the bearing housing and seal seat. Fit the other bearing housing and tap it into place. Secure the housing with 4 nuts. The bearings and locking collars are designed to go together like this. Put the non-drive end bearing onto the shaft. A tube can be used to knock the bearing into place without damage. Repeat the process at the drive end. The bearing locking collars are bored deliberately off-center and can be locked by turning in the direction of rotation. At the non-drive side, the end of the locking collar should be flush with the end of the rotor shaft. Take a punch and lock the collar onto the shaft. Then tighten the grub screw. The drive end bearing is fitted in the same way, but in this case the end of the locking collar should be flush with the shoulder on the rotor shaft. Check that the rotor can revolve freely. Then the bearing covers can be fitted. Fix them in place with 2 screws. Using lubricant, fit the pump shoes to the rotor. Secure the port plate to the main cover using 3 screws. Position the main cover onto the body of the pump and tap it on with a mallet. Secure the main cover with the nuts. These brass plugs are for the drain and filler. Put fiber washers over each plug and fit them in place. Fit the two gauge plugs to the pump body using pipe thread sealant. Two withdrawal or forcing screws are provided to help with disassembly. Always fit two new front cover gaskets when replacing shoes and/or port plate.